You're listening to Last Word Radio, where you get the last word.
Welcome to the Forefront Podcast, part of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATV. This is May the 11th, 2020, with you today, myself, Carl, and Stevie Nick.
You notice anything different about me today, Carl?
I also have.
You have trimmed the beard.
It was fully done this week. I got so sick of it. After our quarantine corner last week, I sat, because we don't have time to just sit and think right now. I sat and I thought, I decided it wasn't. I recondoed my beard, essentially. It didn't spark joy, so I got rid of it.
There you go. I did mine today, this afternoon. Just got to a point where I was like, this is itchy. I don't like the way it puffs on my cheeks. And I took it off.
Because of the, you still got the hair.
Yeah.
Still just as long.
By the way, update on that story. I confronted her about it.
Uh-oh.
I was like, I really need a haircut. And she was like, darn, that's too bad. And I was like, do you know what happened to that shaver that I used to have? And she said, well, actually, that belonged to your aunt, so I gave it back to her.
Oh, okay.
It was actually not much of a confrontation. She was very straightforward and honest with me about her getting it out of the house.
And nice to give it back to your aunt.
Right? God, it'd be nice to have that thing in the house right now.
You know where it is, though. It's at your aunt's house.
Which is like 4 hours away. Aunt Nancy, if you're listening, get on FedEx right now. She's not.
Should we just start a beard or a trimmer service? I can mail you mine. You pick up your hair, you mail it back. We only have to do it every month. That's cheaper than a haircut at the store.
You're probably right.
And it's cheaper than paying the current Amazon prices for razors. So.
Oh my god. And it would get here faster.
It would get here faster. You can trust the people who come in contact with it to know that they're healthy. It's a win-win, Nick. Well, I think we just solved this week's. Should we just shut it down now?
Just wrap it up. There's been no news, so...
Yeah, so we'll get to the lack of news this week.
There's a little bit.
There's a little bit. What I enjoyed thinking back, like, you sit down, normally a little behind the curtain, first thing Monday mornings, Nick and I start messaging and, planning out the show. And it's usually, a full day of, messaging back and forth and planning things out. So I sat here today and thought, remember last week when we said this news could drop any minute, probably as soon as we stopped recording the show?
Never came.
Didn't happen, Nick.
Nothing. And actually, today, I think, was the first time that I messaged you first on the Monday.
True.
I was like, I wonder if Carl's okay. I haven't heard. It's 8 a.m. and I haven't heard from him yet.
I start work at 8, which means I wake up at 7:30. Yeah. Which means, for you, at 8 a.m., your time is 6 o'clock. I'm still in bed. That's why.
So maybe it's a little later than 8. Maybe I was exaggerating for the sake of the story.
I did wake up to a message from you this morning. So.
There you go.
That's why you didn't hear from me. I was... there you go, Nick. Now that we've sorted out my sleep schedule and how we've done that, let's let everyone know about Park Power. Park Power is the official power of this show. They provide us with the power we need to bring you this lovely podcast in the time of quarantine and pandemic and no sports. They're literally the only thing keeping us going. We've literally plugged them in right to ourselves. So if you need utilities in Alberta, head to ParkPower, ParkPower.ca. You can get good prices, supports the community and charities in your area, and just a great group of people. If you need customer service, they are there for you. Nick's not along. He knows what's up. So head over ParkPower.ca. The news of the day, Nick.
Of the day?
I mean, in the hockey world, it is the news of today. It's new, fresh news that came out this morning. The AHL has officially shut the doors on the season. They will not be returning to the ice. There will be no 2020 Calder Cup champion. The season is done.
Are you surprised?
No.
Me neither.
No.
Me neither. The stakes are not as high for the AHL.
Well, and for them, and actually, so I had to go out. I got to leave the house today, which is actually a really nice thing.
Wow, nice.
Around the city, and so I turned on the local Sportsnet radio. We were talking, and it got me thinking about the AHL and all these things. And one thing that makes the AHL much less of a good idea to keep doing in the midst of this is because they don't really have, there's no TV deal.
Right.
They have a streaming service, but there's no TV deal. Their revenue comes from license.
Yeah. 100%. Even their TV service, like they're constantly discounting it. They must not be making money on it.
And so for them to have games without fans has to be, at best, a money-losing venture.
Yeah.
Or breaking even.
Yeah. No, I'm not surprised. Like I said, the stakes are much lower, and you accurately pointed that out about the TV deal as the reason why. Everything I think is more expensive for AHL teams to operate in terms of the arena, in terms of staff and the facilities, just because their revenues aren't as big, right? So I'm actually very curious. I don't know the answer to this. If anybody knows, please let us know. Like, how do AHL teams finance themselves? Like, surely their NHL counterpart must chip in some sort of money to keep the team going. I know in some cases the same owners own their AHL affiliate, but are they just working off developmental dollars from the team?
I'd say that's part of it. Part of what also helps with that. And again, I don't know if a guy's on a two-way deal, who pays that player? Is it the AHL club or the NHL club?
I have no idea. It's a great question.
So some of those kinds of things, right? I think there are certainly some players who will be paid by the NHL affiliate. So player salaries are going to be way less, which is nice.
I do wonder too what this would mean if the NHL were to come back. How do things like calling guys up and waiver transactions work?
So that is something that not an official statement, but the practice that's happening right now is that NHL rosters would expand, and they would actually have at least 30 players on the roster at training camp. So they'd be able to have all those players up there, keeping them fresh, because there is nowhere to call them up from. There's nowhere to keep them healthy and ready and in game shape. So they'd be able to have 30 players on that roster, and I believe the number is currently 25, I want to say. So you have those extra players there.
Makes sense. But no, I'm not surprised.
And so, in light of that, I think we look towards next season, and that becomes an even bigger issue because there's talk that if they manage to play this NHL season, that next year will start in December or November, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, this off season they get right now doesn't count as an off season. They need a second off season, which I guess you have to do the off season business, but man, can you imagine doing free agency in one 24-hour period? All right, here's free agency. Go.
TSN would be ecstatic.
Yeah, we'd have content for weeks.
Oh my goodness. It would be exciting, for sure.
It'd be a disaster.
It would be a disaster, but that's what makes it exciting, the chaos.
Yeah. I guess because you could just open camp open camp and guys are still being signed, that's a legitimate thing that happens now. So, okay, so we've got, if that's the case, there's still a chance, and there's a lot of talk going around, that fans are still not going to be allowed into buildings come the end of 2020. And if that's the case, being able to keep the AHL's doors open, a big problem.
Huge. That was actually going to be my next question, is like, even if parts of the world start opening up again, I don't think we're going to be seeing groups of tens of thousands of people get together for a long time. So if it's not worth them to open their doors with no butts in seats, then are they even going to play next season? Maybe they're going to do a shortened season. Maybe they can convince the NHL to kick in some dollars to keep them going. I don't know.
And then how much, because if the NHL's not able to have fans in the seat, they're already taking a loss. And then how far does this trickle down? Because they have AHL affiliates, they have ECHL affiliates. There's the junior teams. Right? Junior hockey is such a big part of Canada, but also not a big money-making business.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is to that. Like, this is, for sports teams, this is going to be a longer haul than for the rest of us being stuck in our homes, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Because even talking today, there was I don't know if it was a press conference that came out or just someone talking, but the number for the Canadian Football League, they're able to fit on average 4,000 people into the stadiums while being within restrictions of spacing. 4,000 people is not enough to keep those organizations running.
No.
And if you scale that down, I mean, they're playing in 30-odd thousand seat stadiums. That's like twice the size of an NHL ring. You're fitting 2,000 people in an NHL arena, it's not going to sell enough tickets.
Man, it'd be so weird going to a hockey game that only 2,000 people are at. Like an NHL game.
I've been doing it for years.
I can only imagine what that would do to the ticket prices for the Canadian teams.
It'd be so expensive.
Yeah, it would drive the cost way up.
But then, and it would all be secondary. Like, even the teams wouldn't be able to benefit from it. Because can you imagine, the team being accused of profiteering off of
Oh, my goodness. No, but I'm sure... never mind, we won't go down that road.
Sure we don't want to? So anyways, that's where we're at. We know, here's what we know about the NHL draft after their meetings last week. Nothing. Here's what we know about their plan to come back. Mostly nothing. Nothing from the league. You had some news coming out of Ontario.
Yeah, so apparently last week, the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, had met with Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment to discuss a bid to the NHL to make Toronto one of the hub cities for when the NHL returns.
We talked last week about the possibility of that being a thing. Obviously, the politicians are open to the idea. We've heard our minister talking with the league about getting things back open. It's not going to be an easy task at all to even logistically make all of this work.
Even with no fans in the arena, I mean, we talked a couple weeks ago about how many people it takes on site to make a game happen, right? And it's a lot. Now,
We were over.
I think we were in the 100 range, just over 100. Now, outside of the arenas, you've got how many teams filling hotels in a dense urban area. And then once you've got all these pro athletes in a place like Toronto, in a place where people are highly, highly tuned in and engaged in professional hockey, I could just see crowds of people swarming outside of the hotel to get autographs from Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid. And
it would be foolish to have. I mean, you'd have to have such ridiculous security in place. It would be borderline too much. But
Toronto doesn't make sense to me. They got to go to smaller markets where people don't care as much, like Florida.
But even, I mean, if you have a rink anywhere, you can play this. Like they were talking, again, listening to some things and talking today, baseball, right? They're talking with, because they have a proposal that they're putting forward to the union to get started on July 1st with baseball. And they're giving teams the option. You can play out of your home park or you can play out of your spring training stadium. And it really doesn't matter because you're playing, it doesn't matter how many seats you can fill, right? You could play it down the field as long as it's regulation and it works.
Yeah.
Right? If you're happy with the facility that's provided, I mean, maybe some of our beer league stadiums might not be appropriate. I think all the goalies want to get dressed in a bathroom, right? Is that what they want?
I think so. I think they like that.
So it will be interesting. I think you don't have to have it in a large urban center like you're saying. Have it in a smaller area is good, but I mean, even some of the restrictions, because motorsports is getting fired back up, which is, I mean, there's distance between drivers, but you have teams working and things like that. And looking at some of the requirements and the things that they're having in place there, I legitimately don't see a way that they can stay back operating. Because they have, so for the drivers, they typically have a motorhome on site that they sleep in, stay in for the weekend. The drivers stay in that motorhome until 10 minutes before the race. They are brought to the car. They are not allowed to have contact with their team. So the people fixing their cars, they're not allowed to have any contact with them. If they get in a crash and they have to go into an ambulance, they have to then immediately take off their mask or their helmet and mask up before getting in the ambulance. There's no one is allowed to have any contact. If anyone tests positive, they and everyone they have had contact with are quarantined for 14 days. So you can imagine in a situation where you have everyone in a Toronto, is everyone who's played a game against that team in the last 2 weeks is all of a sudden quarantined. You're going to start it up and shut it down real quick.
Yeah. That's all it takes is one case, right?
Yeah, because they can't be liable. Look, the NHL is liable for a lot of concussions. They can't also be liable for COVID problems.
That's right. Although I'm sure there's secret emails somewhere that talk about how they'll never have to be liable for COVID problems.
Yeah. And those emails will never get out. We'll never know about them, right?
We'll never know about them, Daily. Don't worry, it's secure.
Yeah, I mean, no one's ever actually know. That's fine. All right, so there we go. That's what we know. We know nothing about the draft. We know nothing about returning to play. That is the news of the week.
Oh, wait. There was another piece of news. I don't know if you got the email from NHL Public Relations. All of their international events this year are canceled.
Right. Next year, I mean, there was what, Finland was one? The Global Series all canceled.
The Global Series is all done, yeah.
And, I mean, there was one other piece of news, but we choose to not talk about terrible people doing terrible things on this show. Just know we don't support you doing terrible things.
Yeah, we don't have anything else to say about that.
That's all we have to say about that.
I'm not wasting my time.
Let's go to kind of an interesting thought project we had, which was to come up with the best of the worst teams ever. So what we thought was, I mean, there are a lot of teams that have never won a Stanley Cup. Do you have, I mean, a lot. Do you have the exact list there, Nick, of the teams that have not won?
I do. Do you have them in front of you?
I will in a second.
Hold on. Can you name them?
Can you give me... Okay, I'll do my best to name them without... Look, okay, Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah.
Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Minnesota Wild, Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
Wild, Jackets, Preds.
Yeah. Nope.
How more am I missing?
You were missing 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
You're not looking at the old list that has the Blues on it.
I took the Blues out of it.
The Sens.
Yeah, I actually didn't even count them. So you have 3 more after the Sens.
That's where the Sens are at on this.
Yeah.
You have. Panthers.
Correct. Hoyer was there.
I'm just going through the divisions. Wow. Like everyone else in the Metros won. The Atlantic, everyone else has won.
One of the 2 that you're missing is super obvious. Yeah, there you go.
Vegas hasn't won. And the Sharks.
Correct. You got it. I never could have named all 10 of them. Even when I was reading the list, I was like, Buffalo's never won a cup? Florida?
They've at least made it to the dance.
I think that's why I think that they were more successful than they actually are.
Like, because you can remember them being in a final.
Yeah. Although all of the teams on this list, with the exception of the Wild, the Blue Jackets, the Coyotes, and the Jets. Okay, so that's a lot of teams. So more than half of them have made it to the finals.
Yeah, and I would say all of the rest of those teams are all part of the modern day expansion.
Yes.
So from Nashville on, maybe we would call that era.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I was like, I think when I read the list, I was most surprised by Buffalo. But then when I was thinking about their all-time players, I was like, I could think of maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah. So, and this is the endeavor we've set out to do, is to determine of these teams that have never won, which of them is best qualified or the best all-time team. So who would be the best? Who would be able to conquer that? The caveat being, when you get a player, you get them for the best year that they gave your team. So we can't do the Arizona Coyotes and give them the best of Pavel Datsyuk, even though he literally never played a game for them.
He might still be on their all-time team, though.
Just in the press box is someone else on the ice. So things like that, right?
Yeah.
The Blue Jackets do not get peak Sergei Fedorov; they get other Sergei Fedorov. So
yeah.
So we're gonna set up. So what is your?
Those are 2 good Red Wings examples you gave, though, eh? Did you do that on purpose?
No, I didn't pick them because they were both Red Wings. I just picked them because they were players that peaked.
Right. Yes.
I mean, we could also the Predators don't get peak Peter Forsberg. There you go.
There you go.
What is your thought on how you want to? Do you want to kind of make your first guess at what team you think has the best chance of being the top team?
I mean, I have a couple of thoughts, but I also have one more question, because as I was looking at some of these players or some of these teams and their histories, there's a lot of relocation here, and I want to know where you stand on the quote-unquote franchise history of the Arizona Coyotes, for example.
So I think they stay with the franchise. So the Jets would get Ilya Kovalchuk.
Correct.
Thrashers.
And the Coyotes get Teemu Selanne.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, that's kind of how I looked at it too. Which made the Coyotes a surprisingly good team.
Coyotes get a lot better when it's not literally just players from the Coyotes. Because, I mean, if you look at just players from Arizona, it's a very bad list.
Yeah, it's very bad. I mean, there's a few from their playoff runs in the early 2010s, but it's mostly just old Winnipeg Jets.
Exactly. So great question, because we have, 2 relocations?
Well, yeah, 2, sorry. Oh, man, I got to delete a lot of the names off this Minnesota list. I was thinking the other way around. I started putting North Stars on that list until right the second where I was like, wait, that's the Dallas Stars. was wondering why they weren't showing up on Hockey Reference.
The Minnesota North Stars did not relocate.
They just went to the other side of the other Twin City, right?
They were the St. Paul Stars. And I don't know, maybe that's West, so they have to become the West Stars.
Look, Carl, it's been a long week, okay? It's been a long Monday.
It is, seriously, I would say I woke up this morning to a lovely message from my friend Nick. I also woke up to snow outside my window. It seems like not just across this city, but across the country, this was the most Monday of Mondays.
Yeah, it was a very big Monday. It was snowing here, too.
Can we just not?
Yeah, like, can you just give us one thing? Sunshine, please?
That's what I need. I have no leftovers left in my fridge, and I have a thing of ribs that
Oh!
I'm not doing those inside.
Man, okay. Remind me to bring that up in Quarantine Corner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which team would you think, without, I know that we've both kind of taken a look at these organizations and some of their history, what team would you say has the best roster to be able to build this team?
We're talking all-time team?
Not like best team. We can cherry pick from any player who's played for them, any season that player's given.
I have a few thoughts. Okay, I think the San Jose Sharks would be up there. I think the Vancouver Canucks would be up there. And I think the Ottawa Senators could give them a run for their money too.
Really? The one that I'm most curious about is the Senators. Let us know, Nick. What is it about the Senators that really tickles your fancy?
You got a top line of Danny Heatley, Jason Spezza, Daniel Alfredson in their prime. It's pretty... Which is what they had.
What they had.
Okay. Followed up with Alexei Yashin, Marian Hossa, Mark Stone. You throw Erik Karlsson on that blue line, getting spicier. I put Sean McEachern on this team, and I'll tell you why. Seeing that name brought a very clear memory back to the top of my head. I have no idea why I remember this, but it's in the house that we grew up in, and I'm playing mini sticks in the living room, and my dad's watching sports TV, and I wish... How do I spell this guy's name? I'm going to try and look up what season it was, but he was off to like a really, really good season, and it's all sports rate like TSN was talking about. It must have been his 30-goal season. And I heard them talking, and I remember turning to my dad, and I remember saying, Dad, who do you think's better, Sean McEachern or Wayne Gretzky? My dad literally laughed at me because I was like, I don't know, whatever. I was 10 years old or something, and all I heard was him talking about Sean McEachern every day and how great of a season he was having. And my dad was was just like, it's not even a question, son. Don't ask me such things.
Oh yeah, I like that he put you in your place.
Oh, he put me in my place.
Yeah.
He's just like, not Sean McEachern.
I mean, if it was that 30-goal season for him, he was not even close to the leading scorer on the Senators. So your question should have been, is it Alexei Yashin or Wayne Gretzky?
But Alexei Yashin was a great player too.
Who would you have in net for that team?
See, this is where the Senators kind of fall apart.
That's the big struggle.
Right? Like, Craig Anderson's probably the best goalie they've had. Who's the guy they had back in those old playoff runs? Was it Ron Tugnut?
Tugnut was one of them, yeah.
Great name. Okay goalie.
I mean, in his one season with the Senators, Dominik Hasek had a very good season.
I forgot Hasek played for them.
So, hear me out, because I'm about to make the case that Dominik 41-year-old Dominic Hasek should be the starting goaltender for the all-time Sens team. Now, to be fair, I would put Hasek in, I mean, not even a question, top 5 goalies of all time. I would probably put him top 2.
Yeah, totally agree.
So 41 years and he played till 43, so good on him. That season, he had in 43 games, Nick, he had a .925 save percentage and a .209 goals against. His goals saved above average of 28, placing that as his 8th best season of all time.
It's crazy.
So for me, he also finished 7th in Vezina voting that year. That might be our case of a very good Ottawa Senators goal.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then you got Craig Anderson backing him up.
Craig Anderson as the backup. I mean, he's had some very nice seasons, being able to take those. I mean, last time the Sens made the playoffs was because Anderson.
Yeah.
I mean, so my pick of who I thought would be the best team who hasn't won. I mean, on this list of teams, we have the Sabres. I'm just going through my head. The Sharks, the Knights. Those are all at least 4 teams that have made the Cup finals.
Mm-hmm.
The Nucks have, so that's 5. Obviously, Wild, Preds, Jackets, the Jets, and the old Jets. I'm not sure if the Winnipeg 1 Jets made the Cup finals.
The Preds made the finals.
You're right, Nick, they did.
Didn't the Senators too?
Did they recently?
Was that? Didn't they just go on a run? Carlson was on the team.
They made the finals that year. Okay, so most of these teams have made the finals. Is my point then? I guess.
No, they made the conference final. Oh no, they made the Stanley Cup finals in 06-07.
They lost to LA
in 07? No, they lost to. Who won in 07? I gotta look it up. I've done this exercise so many times.
How with LA? That's my answer.
In 2007? No, it was Anaheim.
All right, there we go. Glad we can sort that out with not Craig Anderson in that. At that point, was he? I don't think he would have been.
No, I think I'll tell you who it was. I have it open. It was Ray Emery. Yeah, me too.
That's it, though. All-time Senators defense would be a pretty good list as well.
Yeah, Wade Redden, Erik Karlsson.
Yeah.
Chara.
But, right. The Sharks would be my first pick as the best team. I'm going to start from the net and work my way out. Getting Nabokov is a thing that I very much would want on my all-time team. So, going from there out, I mean, on defense, I might not even put this version of Erik Karlsson on that team. Because, like, what he's given to the Sharks, a little bit hurt this year, but he'll probably make it, but still Brent Burns making that. Up front, I mean, Joe Thornton, obviously going to be there. Patrick Marleau going to be there. Owen Nolan is going to have a stake on that team as well. You've got, back when they were first coming up, a lot of not good teams, but you've got like Ricci at a time.
Yeah, that's right.
Also made an appearance on the Sharks for a season.
I've got Igor Larionov on my list.
So I look at those, and they're going to score a lot of goals and rely a lot on the giving of
You left one elite goal scorer off that list. Jonathan Chichu.
Chichu? Oh, you know we're riding the Chichu train.
You just need him for that one season. Like, that's the Chichu you get.
It's the best season they had with that team, and you get, 48 goals?
Yeah.
Jonathan Chichu.
Yeah.
I mean, even Kirch, or not Kirch anymore, but Joe Pavelski.
Yep. Patrick Marleau. Thornton. Yeah.
So that's probably mine.
Can we talk about the Canucks?
Yeah.
Because I think the Canucks, if you could combine their two Stanley Cup final teams and a couple players in between, you would have a very, very strong team. I think, out of all these teams, the Canucks all-time team is probably the best. You got Trevor Linden.
That's from the first go-round. Trevor Linden.
Pavel Bure, which we on our show have a segment named after Pavel Bure.
R.I.P. to the Pavel Bure.
Yeah, it's on hold right now.
The Pavel Bure's on Netflix shows, which I watched. I watched Jerry Seinfeld has a new special on Netflix.
Was it good?
It's pretty good. Yeah, it was definitely very Seinfeld. So if you like his style, you like it. If you don't, you won't. But
yeah, I'll have to check that one out. Canucks, you've got the Sedins. You've got Roberto Luongo.
I gotta think that's your goalie.
It's gotta be. You've got Mark Messier.
You've got
Alexander McGillney. I think where they start to fall apart is on the blue line.
The blue line is not strong.
Yeah. What, Alex Edler? That guy who's now on TSN? Piexa?
Literally their Stanley Cup Finals run team. Who's on the blue line? Do you have the roster from their previous Stanley Cup?
From the first one in 93? I'll pull it up right now.
Fancy there.
Yeah, I will. I think it was 93, right? The Rangers won that year. My dad had that on VHS tape recorded for some reason.
A lot of sense.
Okay, so defense. They had Dave Babich. They had Gerald Diduck. They had Robert Dirk, Doug Lidster, Jyrki Lume, Dana Merzen, Adrian Plavsic, Dan Ratushny, and Yuri Slegard. Do you know any of those names?
Some of them are familiar, like Dave Babich. Heard of him. Outside of that, going back that long, because that was the age where we were asking, is Sean McEachern as good as Wayne Gretzky?
It's a little before that age.
Certainly a good. The forward core on that team alone is great, right? You've got peak Pavel Bure, who's putting up.
Oh yeah.
That season alone, he had 60 goals.
Yeah.
This was his career high, but man, Vancouver Canucks, Pavel Bure was tasty.
They had a young Peter Nedved.
Yeah. What do you think about? Because I would say the team that is most likely, in my opinion, to be the worst is the Wild.
Oh yeah. I didn't some of the other teams when I was looking at the list of players and writing stuff down. I was actually building out lines for the Wild. I was like, I'm just going to make a list of these 5 players, and I'm not even going to specify where they're playing because it doesn't matter.
So on your list, I assume you've got Marian Gaborik.
Yeah.
You've got Zach Parise.
Yeah.
You've got young Brent Burns.
Didn't even have him. Forgot about him.
I mean, that was a forward defenseman, Brent Burns.
You know what I remember about that time was seeing his picture and thinking, like, it makes sense that that man plays for the Wild.
Right. And that was back when he had teeth still.
Mm-hmm.
In net, probably Nicholas Backstrom or Devin Dubnyk.
I had Devin Dubnyk, but Backstrom's probably your backup.
Who's I missing from your list of that?
I had Ryan Suter on here. I had Mikko Koivu. I had Jason Zucker just because like that was one of the names I could remember who was a Wild player.
He was a Wild, yep.
But beyond that, like there's not much that this team's got to be excited about.
No. And like I mean, if you compare them to the Blue Jackets that they were expansion buddies with, the Jackets have Bobrovsky and net. They've got all those years of Rick Nash. Pick one of them. It's going to be great. They've got, Artemi Panarin for a season.
Yeah.
Or a few, right? Fill that in.
Yeah.
You have both months of Matt Duchene to throw in there.
Yeah, which I did. You're missing their top line center, though.
Ryan Johansson.
Nick Foligno. Probably the man in the NHL who most deserves a Stanley Cup. Probably not.
Maybe he'll move late in his career.
He's someone who I could see do it. One last year. Go to a contender.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously the Knights are probably just going to be the team that made the Cup final in the first year to throw Mark Stone on it.
And, what's his name? From the Habs. Yeah.
Throw Max Pacioretty and Mark Stone on there. Now you can add Robin Lehner as a backup. There's your team.
Pretty much.
Sabres have a quality team. I mean, you get peak Dominic Hasek.
Yeah.
So
you also get peak Ryan Miller
as the backup.
Yeah.
Which, like, I mean, peak Ryan Miller is better than most of these other goalies.
Yeah.
You also get if they meet the Canucks, it'll be McGillney versus McGillney.
Yeah.
Little mashup there. Danny Briere had a good time there. We've got, if you go back a ways, there's tons of quality Sabres. I think because of how long they've been around, just from pure longevity, they're going to probably be a contender.
Yeah, I think to me where they kind of fall apart is on the blue line again, similar to the Canucks.
Well, I mean, you can have even, recency bias. You can have rookie season Tyler Myers.
I put him on there. And Phil Housley.
It's a good start right there.
I also have Jack Eichel on this team.
I'd say that's fair. I mean, even if you're pulling out a full team of 12 forwards to play, Jack Eichel is a top 12 all-time Buffalo Sabre for sure. Not even a question. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's also in my research I found out they had a guy named Rick Martin who's pretty high on all their all-time lists.
Gotta throw Rick on there.
Yeah, I mean he was living La Vida Loca while he was in Buffalo, so.
It was his middle name like Edgar, so it was in fact Rick E. Martin.
Like the singer? Yeah. No, come on, is that true?
I think you just made a Living La Vida Loca reference, and then I bring it back to Ricky Martin. You're like the singer.
I wasn't making a Ricky Martin the singer reference. I was just describing how good his career was in Buffalo.
Wait, is that true?
No. I was making a Rick E. Martin reference.
No, his name was Richard Lionel Martin. So
it was Rick L. Martin. Rick the Martin.
Rick L. Martin. It's still pretty good.
So this Rick Martin guy, had back-to-back 52-goal seasons in Buffalo in the 70s. I've never heard of this guy before, but he's all over their their season leaders list.
He has his number retired. Pretty good.
There you go. That was the thing with this exercise, going through these non-Stanley Cup winning teams. Like, none of them are teams I really pay attention to.
Not a whole lot, no. So, I'm well aware. I mean, we can't go through all 11 teams in depth, going through the rosters. And I'm well aware, because we tried to do as much of this on air as possible, or, impromptu. So there are definitely players that we missed on this little exercise.
Oh, for sure.
If you think of any, let us know. Let us know who you think should be on, especially if it's your team. Let us know who you'd put on your all-time list. And until then, head to the quarantine corner.
Quarantine.
Each corner is to be a personal space.
God. New guy's in the corner puking his guts out.
You're gonna quarantine me inside a quarantine? Really?
Rocky Balboa praising his corner the champ.
Am I still in quarantine?
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
We have shockingly been going. We're at the 46-minute mark. So
I was hoping we'd make it to 30 today.
Yeah, I know. We did 15 minutes of news. Apparently, 31 minutes of that. Do you want to let us know your quarantine corner stuff?
Yeah.
Like one or two?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Nick, the quarantine corner is where we are here to help you. So our listeners, you, the listeners, send in your problem that you need help solving, and we do our best to help you out. So I think we'll see as we keep going, as sports come back and then leave us, or etc. We're here for you. So Nick, you have a couple that came in this week.
I've got a couple. So this first, they're both mine. They're both issues I'm having right now in quarantine. So as you know, I've just moved into a new home. I am a first-time homeowner. I grew up, growing up, we grew up in a house. So I'm sure these problems existed, but I was a kid, so I didn't have to take care of them. Carl, this house is infested with spiders. There's so many spiders.
Are you and or your wife incredibly afraid of spiders?
No, which is a good thing.
That's a good thing.
They're just like house spiders. Like they're not going to hurt anything. But what should I do about this? They're just kind of I don't like the idea of spiders roaming around in the dark.
I assume, do you have a basement in the house?
Yeah.
I assume they're getting into the basement?
Yeah, probably. Last week I killed one centipede. It's the first one I've seen on the wall.
Our old house had tons of little millipede centipedes.
Oh, those things give me the heebie-jeebies.
Have you seen? I mean, maybe don't watch it now. There's a show on Netflix that I watched an episode of. It's called Absurd Planet.
Mm-hmm.
It essentially just shows the weirdest animals on Earth, and legitimately, they're so weird that I felt uncomfortable the entire time. But centipedes made the list. Did you know that an actual centipede, not the kind that you would get in your house, but one of the big suckers?
Yeah,
they're venomous.
I'm not surprised by that. They're gross.
Anyways, I also don't recommend that show. I would. My wife hates.
Okay.
And actually, fun story. Here's what you shouldn't do. One thing you should do is get spider spray. But when using it, make sure to watch where you are spraying it, because it was a close incident. I took some spider spray in the face, and what's good.
Isn't it poison?
I had to hit the old eye wash station. But it's great, because if there is a home invader, you also have something to ward them off with.
Right.
So you're set there. So it's double beneficial. I don't know what kind of a neighborhood. Maybe you live in a safe neighborhood. Maybe it's not. So
I don't know yet either. We've only been here for 2 weeks.
No one's broken in yet.
No one's broken in yet. So here's what I've been doing. I've been crushing them with Kleenex. I'm not the kind of like let them live or put them outside kind of guy. I just crush them with the Kleenex. And I spray down the corners and stuff with this like vinegar water solution because apparently they don't like vinegar.
I would try it. I know that it works with other animals. I would try apple cider vinegar if you have it. Apple cider vinegar has like pneumonia in it. It makes it smell like pee for other animals. So, it'd be a tip.
I will try that. I will make my house smell like pee.
I've used it to get rid of skunks before.
Oh.
That's another thing. Speaking of moving houses, when I was moving out of my last house, we're there in the basement, packing up the boxes and moving things. My sister's over helping. You know, back when you could have people over here.
Oh my God, I miss it so much.
And so we're looking there, and she looks at the window and she goes, "You have skunks." That is not true. And sure enough, for the first time ever, the day before this for sale sign is going on my house, a family of skunks runs through my backyard and underneath my shed. I stood there on the deck with a chair, apparently ready to throw it at the skunk. Not wanting, to startle them off, but also not wanting to startle them so much that they leave their skunky aroma around.
Yeah.
So I let them go. And sure enough, Nick, they've been living underneath. So, apple cider vinegar, shove some of that under there. I just doused it in a rag like I was going to chloroform them.
Yeah.
And threw it right underneath. Never saw them again.
You Molotov cocktail them instead.
I love the story. I had to go clean that shed out. Anyways.
Okay, I'm going to try that.
I mean, I don't know if it would work for insects as well, but if they're saying vinegar, then ammonia would still be in there, and maybe that's what does it.
And the vinegar works for a day or two, and then they just all come back. I'm just checking now. There's none in here.
I would say, do it around those windows like you do. Traps work too. Just get a trap from Home Depot.
Yeah. Curbside pickup.
Don't try to go into the store. Everyone's renovating their house right now.
It's so true. Okay, the rib thing. Back to the ribs. Again, I'm a first-time homeowner. So guess what I don't own? A barbecue. But I finally identified one. I'm getting one this week in time for the long weekend. I'm hell-bent on it. I'm going to make ribs this weekend on my barbecue.
Tell me, what is it? Is there something that makes you extra excited about this one, or is it?
It's just the fact that I have a barbecue. I've been living in apartments in downtown Toronto for so long that I haven't been able to grill, and I can't wait to grill. It's just in time for the summer. I can't wait to go.
Long weekend is that's peak grilling time too. It's the first great grill.
I know. So after we get off the show, I got to go and put the order in for Rona curbside pickup so it's ready before the long weekend. So I can set it up and make some ribs this weekend.
One thing that I've actually...
Oh, dude, it's great. That's one of the best parts about working from home is just cooking in the middle of the day.
Cooking, napping, snacking. Snacking's a real problem.
You know what else is really great about working from home? Underrated, I think. Being able to shower whenever you want.
Twice a week, 3 times a day.
Sometimes I take a shower at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Just need to clear my head.
That's a good idea. Well, because you were working from home pre-pandemic.
Yeah, it's worse now.
Which is interesting because nothing's really changed from you. It's still the whole family's at home. Now you have more space.
Yeah, actually now I have my own office that I can work out of. That's nice.
That's got to be nice. Do you you don't have your own shower in the basement, or do you?
No, I do have my own bathroom, but not a shower.
You can still give yourself a little shower in there.
Just like imagine my wife coming in at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon just to bring me like a snack, and she's like, "Why are you standing in the bathroom with your shirt off?"
Bar of soap.
And a bar of soap.
One of those back scratchers with a loofah on it. All right, Nick, what's our other quarantine corner question for today?
That's it. That's all I had.
Okay, so the ribs was this. Okay.
The ribs was the second one.
Yeah,
That was less of a question, more of just an expression of excitement.
you know how do you like to do your ribs? Let's talk about that real quick.
Normally when we go to the cottage, I do them. I'll put a dry rub and let them marinate for a few hours. Throw them in the oven no, I don't throw them in the oven. I do them all on the barbecue. I wrap them in foil and I throw them on the grill for, if I remember correctly, 45 minutes. I really only do it twice a year because we only do it at the cottage. For about 45 minutes, then I lather them in sauce and throw the foil out, and then I just put them back on the grill for another 15 minutes, turning every couple minutes to char them up.
That was probably my approach. If you, and I know that there are people out there who do this, if you boil your ribs first, stop.
Yeah, I don't do that. Why? Why would you do that?
No, my parents did that when I was a kid. It was like a very 90s thing to boil meat.
Huh.
There are some folks out there that instead of like your 45 minutes, the barbecue first in tinfoil, which is in fact the way to do it, they will boil them and then finish them on the barbecue.
No, I do it all on the grill, and I normally I'll make my own barbecue sauce too.
I will probably do the same, although I do have some left over in the fridge from going to the barbecue, getting some takeout from a barbecue spot in town here, so I might just use that. Nonetheless, I'll do the same thing. Rub, sometimes mustard, because mustard and pork go so well.
Oh, nice, yeah.
That's a thing I actually stole from a friend of the show, Always Wonderful Joe. I'm excited for you to have ribs this week, and we're both having ribs this week. Let us know your questions for the Quarantine Corner, or what meat you're eating, because we like to live vicariously through the happiness that you have as well. So,
and it's barbecue season.
It's supposed to stop snowing in time for the weekend, so that is great. Let's get some barbecue on. One thing that I want you to know about before we wrap up is the fantastic shows that are available out there. And we want to let you know about something. So, there's this new program that we've been talking about with ATB called ParkPower, where ATB, the official bank of the Fourth Line Podcast, is making it possible for us to amplify the voices of Albertans and Alberta podcasters. So we're going to let you know about a fantastic show. Obviously, we mentioned it a few weeks ago. That's Food, a great show, which seems fitting with the Rib Talk. However, Nick, with it also being that season, we want to let you know about Your Forest, is a show about the natural world. So as we're able to spend some time outside, obviously a lot of parks are closed. We're not able to go to the places we maybe would. However, here you'll be able to learn stories about the environment, renewable resources, conservation, forestry, hunting, fishing, and more. Fishing, a thing I plan to do a lot of this summer. This is a podcast for those who cannot live without the joys and wonders of all wild things. If you want to know more about Your Forest, go to yourforestpodcast.com. That's yourforestpodcast.com. If you're looking for more about us, you can go to thefourthlinepodcast.com. Find us on Twitter at fourthlinepodcast, or you could email us at mail@thefourthlinepodcast.com. You can send any Quarantine Corner questions or a suggestion for someone on the all-time teams or anything in those regards. Hit us up at any of those spots. We're also on the facebook.com/thefourthlinepodcast. Thanks for tuning in this week. Until next week.
It's time for us to wrap up another Fourth Line show. I know what you're thinking. You don't want us to go. I can't wait to get my barbecue, and when you come over, I'm gonna make some ribs for you. Yeah.
Hey, you thought we were gone, but we're back.
Just kidding.
We want to let you know something we forgot to say on the show the first time. The next week is going to be the long weekend here in Canada, and even though it's a quarantine and a pandemic, we're going to take some time off next week to spend with our family and friends as much as we can.
It's a holiday, so all of my paid work I don't do when it's a holiday.
Nick has his government-regulated podcast vacation day, and he's taking it. So enjoy that. If you are in Canada, enjoy that with your family and friends. Have a great long weekend, and we will see you back on May the 25th.
Bye, friends.